If you are a motorcycle enthusiast, there's no sound sweeter than the angry bark of a fire-breathing race machine that can punch a hole into the fabric of reality, unleashed with just one aim in mind. Win the race against time.
That, as you already know, we did a couple of months ago at the racetrack. The only place where you can let such a thoroughbred loose. The thing is, since its inception, the BMW S1000RR has always had an alter ego. A charming Bruce Wayne side for the road and a bat out of hell for the racetrack. So I'm here to see if BMW's pursuit of winning their first World Superbike title has pushed the balance a little bit in the favor of the bat, or is this still a really good road bike? There's only one way to find out. Yeah, that's exactly how I thought the 2025 S1000RR is going to be on the road. Wild, untethered, and downright scary, especially with the introduction of the new quick throttle, which unleashes 113 Newton meters of torque at just 58 degrees of turn compared to the 72 degrees on the previous model. And as you can see, if you slot this in the race mode on the road, it will 100% turn into a spaceship. But put this in the road mode and just slot through the slick quick shifter, which comes as standard in the 4th gear, and then you can just sit back and marvel at the chewing gum like tractability of this engine, because that is the only gear you'll need in the city, on the road, anywhere. Just watch the engine do its magic with the shift cam technology. Hell, you can also put this in the 6th gear if you want, and it will pull cleanly from as low as 30 kilometers an hour, even without feathering the clutch. That has always been the hallmark of this engine, and I feel, if anything, the quick throttle has in fact made the tractability even better as the engine spools up that much quicker. I think the vibrations have most definitely increased compared to the previous model, especially in the lower gears. But again, considering its insane tractability, considering the fact that you can ride this in the 4th gear even when you're crawling over speed breakers, means that you can easily bypass that issue. And on the right stretch of road, this can easily sit at 150 kilometers per hour all day long, making the most of the cruise control that you have at your disposal, and when the engine is its silky smooth best. And the fact that you can ride this thing in the 4th gear pretty much everywhere also meant that I was getting an insane fuel economy of 15 kilometers per liter, even when I was riding around in the city and on the highway, where the only gear you need is essentially the 6th gear, means that you can easily extract anywhere between 18 to 20 kilometers per liter on this superbike. Which then also means that you have a pretty decent 250 to 260 kilometer range on a full tank of fuel, which by the way has gone down from 16.5 to 16 liters. I know what you're thinking. 260 kilometers on a superbike doesn't really sound like fun, does it? Sounds more like sore wrist and a broken back. But to be honest, on the S1000RR, especially in this M Pro package, it's very easily doable because this one comes with adjustable rear seats. Now I've been riding around with the foot pegs in the lowermost and most forward sit position, and at least for my 511 frame, the cockpit feels very spacious, man, at least by superbike standards. Also, when you sit close to the tank as you would on longer distances, the reach to the handlebar is also not very aggressive, and even the M seat, which previously I'd found to be quite hard, this time around seems to be much better padded, more designed for longer hauls. So yeah, as far as ergonomics are concerned, This is as comfy as things get on a superbike. On the highway, this is another thing which you'll appreciate, the taller windscreen, because it does a really good job of keeping the buffeting to a minimum while still providing you with adequate protection from the wind. And secondly, the higher cruising speeds which I just mentioned are half as scary on the S1000RR, primarily down to the stupendous braking performance of the M brakes. Now, we experienced their full fury on a racetrack, and to be honest, I was a little bit worried that at least for the road, they're gonna be maybe a little too potent. But the progression and the feel that they have means that even on the road, you can drop the anchor in a hurry, but also very, very confidently. As we had anticipated from our track review, the ride quality on this is just exceptional. Now, if you remember seeing that video, the higher rebound rate on the semi-active suspension proved to be its Achilles heel, because that prevented the motorcycle from turning as quickly as we wanted, to be as sharp as we wanted, especially on a racetrack. But that in turn works in its favor here on the road in terms of ride quality, because this essentially just cushions you from most of the imperfections that you'll find on the road. But there is a problem there, because then it sees you not really slow down too much when you hit bad stretches, and that's a very stupid mistake to do considering that you're running carbon fiber wheels. So yeah, just don't. Yeah, it's not worth the risk, because our infrastructure, or rather the lack of it, would ensure that eventually you will crack them open. But fear not, the S1000RR has one more thing in its artillery to help you exercise restraint, and that is its paltry 120 mm of ground clearance, which will essentially leave you with no option but to slow down as soon as you hit a bad patch. So where else can it improve? I think the heat management on this is actually pretty good, with the radiator fans doing a pretty good job of keeping the heat in check in the low hundreds, even when you're riding around in the city. And even you have these new cutouts which help divert the heat away from you. But there's no escaping the engine heat from the tank and chassis, which end up getting quite hot because of the heat from the engine. So that is a problem which we had experienced even on the previous iteration of this motorcycle, and that continues to exist on this motorcycle. But honestly, it's not really a deal breaker. Secondly, as you can see, the wings have obviously become even bigger and are even more susceptible when you're riding around in an urban jungle. So yeah, caution is most definitely key, especially when you're parking it in the city, or even when you're slicing and dicing through traffic. But I think my biggest bugbear with the 2025 S1000RR is undoubtedly the deadly combination of its really long turning radius and the taller 832 mm seat, which definitely makes U-turns a lot more stressful and tedious affair. But apart from that, I think I continue to be absolutely smitten by this motorcycle. Because in the world of superbike, it still puts you in a lap of luxury thanks to its spacious ergonomics, its plush ride quality, possibly the most versatile engine, and the world of creature comforts that it offers in terms of heated grips, cruise control, tire pressure monitoring system, hill hold control, a quick shifter, riding modes which now all come as standard, and of course the long list of electronic aids which are there to keep you nice and safe. And then when you add its really competitive price tag of 22.7 lakhs for the much improved and the much better equipped standard variant of the S1000RR, it just goes on to further strengthen the S1000RR's position as the undisputed king of the road among all the superbikes that you can buy.